Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific Northwest, from the good to the bad to the
The
Mariners.
sweet, sweet Mariners, baby.
You know what? We probably should not talk about the Mariners in this episode. We're going to talk about the Seahawks currently on their bye week and, find themselves entering post bye as the number one seed in the NFC West. Currently, a spot where many national pundits thought their win total they're currently at would be their win total for the season. So, I mean, there's still hope for them, but I don't think it's looking very good. But before we dive into that, I want to tell you a little bit about us. If you're looking for a guy who is ready to now dive into football because it has been on the back burner, I've watched every game outside of some of the Steelers game, but I'm ready to dive in with full reckless abandon. And that's me, your boy, Coach Red. You can find me on X at the real Coach Red, on Instagram at the real underscore Coach Red, TikTok at the real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and leave a comment or two. And if you're looking for a guy that's a little bit of trying to throw it back, you might say, oh, like Sean Alexander. Oh, like Kenny Easley. No, like Nelly the Rapper, because he's rocking a band aid on that finger. It's not on the face, it's on the finger. And it's Kane.
Yep, I'm Kate. You can find me over on Twitter, Kate2406. TikTok, Kate0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Balls. Do it, freaking do it. That's what happens when a drill bit slips at work.
Mm, that'll happen. That'll happen. So the Seahawks are
5-2,
one
baby.
team that has faced the Brock Purdy led 49ers, and the offense just wasn't clicking then. Their efficiency's gone up since then, and the only other
Yeah.
loss they had was a shootout against the Bucks, who also find themselves at 5-2. Their wins so far this season are against the Cardinals, against the Saints, two teams that have losing records right now. The Steelers, who are right in the middle
Top of their
as
division.
top of their division, and I think that they are still a game above 500 because they
Yep.
haven't hit the bye yet. You have win against the Jaguars.
They've looked better this year. Their defense is in the top 10 per the ranks. So,
I mean, if the Colts aren't having their magical season, they're atop the division,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
then a Houston Texans team that was coming off of their bye week and did not look competitive.
no. And I mean, against that defense, yeah, there were some hiccups. The offense and defense, like defense still showed out, dude.
Yeah, the defense outside of really the Bucks game has been playing at another level, and a lot of that's been without the main players you expected in the secondary. You've missed a bunch of games from Julian Love, Devin Witherspoon, Nicky Manwari. You had Reek that has been a little bit banged up. So with Eman Ward coming back and Julian Love being out, he's shown you the physical tools that we expected him to excel with throughout the year. And then you're seeing Josh Jobe still play at an extremely high level. You're seeing Kendricks come in and play better than any of us could anticipate. Kobe Bryant is still doing things on the back end. And
Tayo
Tayo Kuda.
Kata, oh baby, this game against the Texans was his legacy game. I mean, he was all over the field. Also, big shout out, Drake Thomas has been very fun to watch.
Drake Thomas taking over the starting role from Tyrese Knight,
He
which
sure has, and
no
it's
no one expected because Tyrese was so good as a rookie last year. But um, Drake Thomas was an undrafted free agent and took a little bit more time to mature. And he's a little bit more explosive of an athlete
Mhm.
comparative to Knight. I think Knight gives you a little bit of Jordan Brooks sideline to sideline coverage, a little bit better than you see from Thomas. But I mean, you're getting big time plays from your interior defensive line. You're you're creating pressure without without blitzing. And you're seeing that from Byron Murphy. You're seeing it from Jaron Reed. You're seeing it from Leonard Williams. You're seeing it from Demarcus Lawrence, who's been banged up as well. You're seeing
Mhm.
Boye Mafe get in there. Hall has you haven't seen a lot from him, but he's been in and out with a little bit of injury. And Chinny Wosu's back, and he looks pretty darn solid now that he is back to as close to
Yeah.
full health as he's been since his first year in Seattle.
Dude, he's been like I just feel like every game, ev Byron especially is living in the backfield rent free. Like second year Byron Murphy is what they talked about, like how dominant Jalen Carter was his rookie year, right? Like that, but I feel like he is just going to be more of just an explosive force, dude. He has looked amazing this year to not be dealing with anything because I know it was like the thumb or the wrist last year, and
And he missed training camp, and you've seen
yeah,
that in years past with rookies when they miss their rookie year training camp. It is a lot tougher for them to get up to speed. We've seen that with Jackson Smith and Jigba as well, right?
hmm
um but one guy that we haven't even talked about yet, which is kind of the life force of the defense, is Ernest Jones. And not
oh,
only is he tackling fools like crazy, he's also intercepting the ball, which is a fun part to see. You've got uh four, I believe, four guys with multiple interceptions on the year right now in Josh Jobe, Kobe Bryant, Kendricks, and Ernest Jones. It's fun to see, and they're attacking. They've been phenomenal against the run all year. They're near the
but
top.
they
I
have
mean, the Texans, although their running back room is lackluster right now without Joe Mixon, with an aging um,
Nick
Nick
Chubb.
Chubb, and Woody Marks has had points in time where he's been solid, but they absolutely shut it down. I think the longest run against the Seahawks in that last game was a CJ Stroud scramble for like 11 or 12 yards. And I think
It's a third
outside
down, I
of
believe.
scramble yards, they were under 50 yards for the game.
Yeah, I mean, this last game as a whole, uh, offense kind of let them get back. The Texans get kind of back into it, which that was unfortunate. That's what happens when you turn the ball over three times,
Four.
four times. Sorry.
And one of them was a strip sack for a touchdown.
Yeah, but this defense just, I mean, Reek. I want to talk about Reek for a second. You know, the up and
Okay.
downs that he's had in everything. This last game, I just saw him zooming around the field and making play after play, throwing the seat belt on some dudes. Great to see. But it's a great game, dude. I hope coming out the bye, you're getting all of your weapons back. And then it's gonna be fun to see how they're gonna run this defense. Because like Nicky Mawari, dude, like
It's gonna be fun seeing him on the field with Spoon and with Julian Love, because I think that the tandem of them plus Reek and Kobe and Josh Jobe have played like 4 snaps together all year, and that was
yeah,
early on in game one with Eamon Wari before he got hurt.
yeah, 3 plays into the season,
It
I
was
believe.
actually 4. Thank you very much. Um, as good as the defense has been, the offense at times has been equally as dynamic, right?
Mhm.
The one problem is they can't really keep it together for a full game, and have kind of made games put a little bit more pressure on the defense. And you saw that against Jacksonville, who
Mhm.
handily should have won that. They should have had that game in hand well into the beginning of the fourth quarter. And same thing
Yep.
with Houston. And The thing that has surprised me slightly is their inability to keep the run game going, because you've seen spurts in games, especially against the Cardinals. It's weird that we can run all over the Cardinals every single year. But on your right side, you got Abe Lucas, who is great to run behind. Anthony Bradford, although with some of his
Recent play.
miscues as looking lost and tackling defenders and blocking his own guys at points in time. Um, has a very good grade in the run department. You have Jalen Sundell at center, who's athletic and can get to that second level. Gray Zabel so far has shown to be a better pass protector than a run blocker, which is good to see because we've seen the pocket decimated for years, especially coming from that interior. And then you've
Mm-hmm.
got Charles Cross, who's still an all around, solid both against both as a run and pass defender, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you couple that all together, I want to see that run game get going. There's points and times where you see K9 get loose. There's
Yep.
points and times when Sharp can bust through the middle, but you need to see those running lanes open up and get a little bit more consistent,
Yep.
because JSN is having a phenomenal year so far.
Phenomenal.
For realistically the most part, Sam Darnold is doing a very good job of controlling the football, not taking very many sacks, and really not throwing that many interceptions through 7 games. He has a couple, and I think he's got like four,
I
and
think
I think
so.
two of them are deflected balls.
Mm-hmm. I
So
believe so. Let's call it just a two then, you know.
sure. Well, you set to call it four. Stats don't lie,
Sure. That's
but
true.
you're starting to see Cooper Cup step up in key moments. You're
Mm-hmm.
seeing the explosiveness out of Torrey
I
Horton, and you're seeing the entirety of the tight end room really take another step forward. AJ Barner is near the top of the league in tight end touchdown catches, and you're seeing the explosiveness of Elijah Arroyo, right?
yeah. It's they're playing Cooper as he is a threat, and as he is, right? So that is probably allowing JSN and also Torrey Horton, right? When they have everybody out there, it's hard to guard everybody, right? But when you were hitting on the run game, yeah, it's been very inconsistent, and I'll tell you one reason, and I think it's the only reason. It's because the homie Robbie Oots has not been back there at fullback. They haven't ran many fullback packages
Well, they
since
have,
he's
but it's
been
been with
out.
Brady Russell because I think Oots is
It's
injured right
not.
now.
He is, and uh Brady Russell's not been very good at it. So Robbie Oots coming back is going to significantly fix this run game. The way he can block coming out of there to open an extra hole, it's something that this team needs for the run game because you get that established right, and you run a couple play actions. This offense is going to be zooming.
And it's I know that you don't really want to kind of move a bunch of guys around and do some of those things, but I think that Eric Saubert is probably a better blocking tight end than Brady Russell. I know that AJ Barner is, but you don't really want to play him in that tight end role. But another guy that has been around the team, I think he still might be kicking around the practice squad. I didn't check that deep on the depth chart, but Tyler Mayberry, you could probably put, he was listed as one of the best blockers that they've had for years, and kind of that guy that they've been stashing on the practice squad and has done some
Mm-hmm.
things in his time with the big ball club. But you just really need to get that going. And maybe it's not being as predictable. Sometimes the things are getting back to that predictability phase that we saw at points in time under the Pete Carroll regime, where, it's run, run, pass. And
Mm-hmm.
now you're seeing it run, pass, and then it's a coin flip depending on, if you're over 5 yards, then you're seeing a pass. If you're under 5 yards, you're probably seeing a run, right? Being able to mix and match that philosophy, because when it's humming, it's humming, but it's not
True.
doing that for the entirety of the game. It could be 4 drives in a row where they put points on the board and then they go ice cold for 4 and you're seeing 3 and outs. Like, you can't have that dichotomy
Right.
on offense. You need to be able to continue to push, keep your defense as fresh as possible by keeping them off the field. And nothing shows that more than what the Houston Texans did to the 49ers this week. In the first half, the Houston 49ers scored a touchdown late to make it just over a one score game. But
Mhm.
the Houston Texans had the ball for 24 and a half minutes of the first half. 5.5 minutes of offense for the 49ers. And they just couldn't keep up. And you just saw their offense was out of sync and their defense started getting tired, right? So,
Yeah.
and we've seen that throughout the years with the Seahawks not being able to move the ball as efficiently on offense. But
Mhm.
one thing that we can say is been a pretty bright spot is looking, granted, two different teams, two different everything, but the play so far by Geno Smith, who's near the bottom of the league in efficiency, and to see where Sam Darnold is near the top. And it could be familiarity with play caller, could be all sorts of things, right? But the Seahawks are exceeding most people's expectation. I kind of
Mhm.
half expected them going into this to be around 4-3, but being 5-2 and kind of getting that win against Houston, against a Jacksonville team that basically did what they wanted to the 49ers, who even with Mac Jones have been a competent football team.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see how they play down the stretch because they do have some games coming up that are very winnable for them.
Yeah. I will tell you, dude, I don't want to see a Jalen Milrow package again.
Well,
Like,
it's going to happen.
not for the rest of the year because I got a couple gripes of it, right? He's fumbled the ball once, which miscue, whatever. But everybody knows it's a run. When you see Jalen Milrow coming in, there's no diversity about it. It's he's gonna run the football. There's no throwing it. There's no anything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
let's get the trick stuff out of here. Just play some
But
solid fundamental football.
one thing, shut up. You need trick plays. Trick plays are awesome. Two, you're talking about 5 plays in 7 games.
I know. Just
Five, 5 snaps.
you're in a
There are
position where
plenty of
you
times
should
where
not
you
be
could
doing
sit there and
this.
do a run pass option and be able to get that. You could see him as that little running back type option because you can throw all these things out there. There's been a couple of plays over the weekend where you sit there and it's not necessarily a flea flicker, but you could run him out on the perimeter, throw the ball back to him, and throw a bomb because there's so many
Sure.
different things you could do, or use them a little bit in a running back role. You could use it as handoff behind. He sprints out, throws throws a post behind it. There's so many different options that you can get there. And I think that
Sure.
if
They
you
just
are
need to
going
do
to
it.
if you're going to do that, you cannot be as predictable with it. You've
Yes.
got to expand the playbook. And if he's not ready to do that, then he's your emergency third quarterback and he shouldn't be suited up. So if you feel the confidence in him as a coaching staff, I say yes, you need to expand that playbook and make it more than just a drop in the water every other game, right?
No, for
Basically.
sure. For sure. But I'm just tired of seeing a run play every time he gets on the field, dude. Like, let's go. We want to be tricky. Let's be tricky. But yeah. I mean, next game as of tonight looks if Jaden Daniels can't come back for Sunday night, that Commanders team. Whoo.
The first half they played pretty well against the Chiefs. I mean, they offensively they struggled a little bit, and Marcus Mariota still has a little bit of juice. But I think that even if you're coming back with Jaden Daniels, it's a tight hamstring, so you're going to see the escapability and the run packages kind of limited for him. So it puts yourself in a good position to do that. But defensively, for the first half, they played very well against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Held them to 7 points, and those 7 points came pretty late in the second quarter. So
What's the end score?
they ended up losing 21-7, I believe, and it's back-to-back losses for them. And it will be interesting to see how that plays out in the lead up to this week. But when you look at the reinforcements that are on the way for the Seahawks, this was actually one of those times where it was a good time for a bye. Usually I like it a little bit later in the season. You're usually a little bit more banged up then. But the
They're
ability for
banged up
them to play
early.
at such a high level in the secondary with their number twos and sometimes number threes in there has been impressive to say the
Yeah,
least.
yeah. I mean, Mike just has this defense coming,
Well,
and they're like
and
a freight train.
you saw the buy-in, not necessarily, and I won't say that, new coach, they didn't buy in right away, but you really started to see the defense gel. They started off pretty hot,
Mhm.
new scheme, wasn't the same old Pete. There was a little still getting used to, but the defense played pretty well the first couple of weeks. They had a
Mhm.
stretch about 4 or 5 games where the defense looked horrendous.
Yeah,
And then down the stretch,
after the Ernest Jones trade and after Buffalo.
yeah, they were top set. Well, he was there for Buffalo, but
Yeah, week of.
they were a top 7 defense in the league. They're currently tracking, I think, at third right now
Mhm.
in efficiency, and the offense is still being pretty efficient. When you're The one thing too that I will say is them winning some more games at home has been nice. They're road dogs
That's
right
true.
now and doing phenomenal on the road, and losing your 2 losses are at home against 49ers and the Bucks, right? 49ers are always going to be a tough in division opponent, and then the Bucks are running hot.
Yeah, I mean they kind of got shell shocked this last week, but they're also dealing with a bunch of injuries on their offense, man.
I mean, I thought we would have a better chance because they were without Mike Evans, they were without
But
Bucky Irvin.
the Buka just game of his career.
Well, it's there you go. There you go. Looking at small sample size again.
I
It's
understand, but like
early.
I know that he's like really, really good because he's also an Ohio State guy. But like the game he had against us was phenomenal.
Well, it's a homecoming game for him. Guy from the area, still from
Yeah.
high school, you know. But when you look at what they've been able to do on the road
It's been amazing.
and what they've been able to do also in a couple of home games is intriguing because it was pretty rough last year watching
Mhm.
them at home. Being able to go out and take care of business in division is going to be key. They still have two games against the Rams, and then they've got one game against the Niners, one game against the Cardinals. They seem to do pretty well against the Cardinals under Mike McDonald. It's not been as good against the 49ers. The games have been overly close, even though Mike McDonald led defenses have usually done well against Shanahan type offenses. It's just, I feel like in those games, the offense has let them down.
Mhm.
And Baker Mayfield was able to play off script pretty well. And he's one
Mhm.
of the better off script quarterbacks in the league. I think the Seahawks did a very good job of shutting down a lot of his first reads, and a lot of the big plays they had were based off of Baker Mayfield extending the play. They still had a
Mhm.
lot of pressure on him, but he was able to make some big time throws on those secondary window type plays, right?
Mhm.
So for them to continue to excel and succeed and make it push for a playoff run and could be potentially a dangerous playoff team if they can get more consistent on offense. You're
Mhm.
still getting great play out of Michael Dixon and the punt team, and their special teams as a whole have been pretty damn good. Torrey Horton's been good as a returner. You're seeing George Halani do good things in the kick return game, and Derek Young as well has even sprinkled in a little bit of offensive juice, right? But is another good guy in that kick return game. And Jace Myers had a couple misses on the year. Guess what? It's the NFL. It's gonna happen. But he's in clutch time is one of the more reliable guys in the league. And we've seen it in years where he didn't miss a kick all year. Right. So where they're at defensively and special teams, you get a little bit more consistently good, not consistently bad. I mean, I was just going to say consistent, but I want to emphasize the good side of it. Being able to even when you do not put points on the board, get 1 to 2 first downs to make sure that that defense is rested, because they can turn the ball over. They can create negative plays. They can create sudden change at the drop of a dime. And being able to keep them humming at a high level, I think, is going to be the key for the Seahawks for the rest of this season.
I agree. I mean, once, as we said, it's once the defense finally gets whole, we're gonna see that kind of unravel together. This could be the most dangerous defense in the NFL. I I don't know. It's just the potential is through the roof for this team.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see because you've seen the Seahawks make plays to help the defense the last 2 years at the trade deadline with Ernest Jones and Big Cat Leonard Williams. It'll be interesting to see if they go get a wide receiver that can add some more experience above Torrey Horton to come in and kind of push him for some playing time, and has a little bit more physical tools than what you're getting out of Cooper Cup right now. Because I do think that Cooper Cup still gives you a lot. He's still pretty good at running the slot. He's been phenomenal in the run game when it bounces to the outside. He's been great in the screen games as a blocker. And I think that you need to keep his presence and his savvy on the field as much as you can, right? But if you're looking around the league and you see some of these teams that are not where they thought they would be, being able to go cherry pick a wide receiver that, could be coming into a contract year, or could be just not the right fit, but could have some of the tools that the Seahawks could highlight and say, hey, like this guy, he's been in the league, he's maybe been a little up and down. Let's go make a play. You could look, or you could make the big time splash, and who knows, you know, maybe go after Garrett Wilson. I mean, it's not out. It's not out because it would be, because you're not going to pay him over JSN. You're going to pay your in-house guy, and you're not going to
Mhm.
trade high draft capital to go get him. But there are plenty of guys that might be the number two on their current squad, and their squad is just underperforming. And being able to go and attack and get that type of guy, Devonte Adams type guy from last year. He was able to go to the Jets when they were trying to push for the playoffs, and there you go.
Jacoby Myers. May I interest you in that? Because I kind of like Jacoby Myers. He'd be your over the top guy.
Jacoby Myers, I think if he's going anywhere, it's back to the Patriots, because they need some more juice and some more play there.
That's fair.
Um, but no, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And like you said, there is a little bit of a revenge game coming up. You have Dan Quinn, former defensive coordinator. You have Bobby Wagner, probably the best middle linebacker that has ever played for the Seattle Seahawks, above Lofa Tatupu. Bobby Wagner is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yep.
It's not like Luke Kuechly and going to have to wait until the second or third ballot. I believe that Bobby Wagner, when all is said and done,
Yeah.
because of his longevity and his ability to play at such a high level, those guys are going to want to come in here and they're going to want to take the win. And there have been Marcus Mariota led teams that have beat the Seahawks, and that is kind of the crux in years past, is backup quarterbacks beating the Seahawks when they should have no business doing so. Damn you, Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
He did it for multiple teams. He did it for the Giants and for the Cardinals, right? So being able to go and pounce and attack and really put yourself, because the NFC as a whole has, there's some teams that can make some plays. You've got the Lions, you've got the Packers that put themselves in good positions. You have the 49ers and the Rams that are right there with you. When you look at,
Eagles and Cowboys.
you've got the Bucks, You've got the Falcons, who you don't know what team's going to show up on any given week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I wouldn't even say, yeah, you can throw the Cowboys in there. You could throw the Eagles right there. But, another team, probably not as much in that, is the Giants when they had Scatabo running around with him being out. I think that puts a big damper on what they're doing. But the Commanders are a team that went all the way to the NFC Championship game last year, right? And they've been hampered with some injuries, especially to Jaden Daniels, that have
Mm.
has not
Really hindered
benefited
their
them.
it's hindered their season, honestly.
Well, and you also look at a running back room who really doesn't have an identity. You have
Yeah,
wide
Terry
receivers.
McLaurin just got back from injury and
Debo's
got hurt
been banged
again.
up. So be really interesting to see how well they can position themselves for a playoff run, right?
Mm.
Ideally, you want to try and be a higher seed, get a little bit easier matchups, potentially get a bye, get a little bit more rest, get a little bit more guys healthy into that playoff run. But Mike McDonald has been doing a phenomenal job. You're
Agreed.
seeing a more balanced, even though the running game hasn't been as efficient as you would like, a more balanced offense than you saw last year. And you're seeing less turnovers offensively. You're seeing more sudden change defensively and a lot more negative plays. And if they can keep that up, I think that you're looking at Mike McDonald being the hands down coach of the year.
100%. Because this team has been doubted since day one. I mean, we see this team up close. We know how good they are, what the strengths are, I guess. We pay attention, right? And the fact that we knew this defense was going to do this, like, not how they've done it, right, with the cast of characters, but we knew this defense was going to be banging this year, and they've delivered on it.
Yeah. Yeah. We could see it coming. And hopefully we can see you coming over to follow us on social media.
Ooh,
Find me, your boy
smooth.
Coach Red, on X at the real Coach Red, on Instagram at the real underscore Coach Red, TikTok at the real Coach Red, and also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and leave a comment or two. Kane, where you at?
Find me over on Twitter, K2406. TikTok, K0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Pause, pause, pause. Do it, freaking do it.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.